There was something we talked about before, the idea that ancient humans could run prey to exhaustion, not fastest, not strongest, just longest, that on open plains, in midday heat, while every other animal on Earth sought shade, a human hunter kept walking, kept following, until the animal ahead had nothing left. That was real, and it was extraordinary, but it only worked on open plains, against prey that left tracks, in heat, in daylight, on terrain where a human could see the horizon and trust that the thing ahead of them was still running in the same direction. What happened when the ground changed? When the animal was too powerful to chase? When the prey was too intelligent to follow the same path twice? When the environment offered no plain, no heat, no horizon at all? The answer to those questions is what I want to sit inside with you today, because it is considerably more unsettling than anything persistence hunting could explain. Every predator on Earth is defined by what it cannot change. The cheetah is devastating at speed on open ground. Remove the open ground, and it is an ordinary cat. The crocodile is lethal in water, in stillness, in the explosion of a single ambush. Take it away from water, and it is slow and exposed. The wolf is extraordinary in coordinated pursuit on terrain it knows, in temperatures it can tolerate, against prey within a specific size range. Change enough of those variables, and the wolf goes hungry. Every predator carries one weapon. The weapon is biological. It was shaped by millions of years of evolution, and it cannot be updated within a single lifetime. When the weapon fails, the predator has no alternative. It waits for evolution, or it starves. Now ask the question differently. What condition do you remove to make a human fail? There is a lion sitting on a low ridge at dusk, watching something it has never seen before. It has watched predators hunt its entire life. It knows the cheetah, the burst, the acceleration, the collapse of distance in seconds. It knows the crocodile, the stillness that is indistinguishable from a floating log until the moment it is not. It knows the wild dogs, constant, relentless, trading off the chase in waves until the prey cannot recover. Every predator the lion has ever watched has a shape, a pattern, a recognizable sequence that begins the same way and ends the same way. The lion understands hunting the way something understands its own heartbeat, not consciously, but completely. What it is watching now has no shape it recognizes. Sometimes the small group of upright figures chases. Sometimes they stop and crouch over the ground for a long time, reading something invisible. Sometimes they separate, moving in different directions simultaneously, as if communicating a plan the lion cannot detect. Once, it watched them construct something from branches and cord near a waterhole, then retreat and wait for an entire day, without moving, without making a sound, until an animal approached the water and the thing they had built closed around it. The prey falls. The figures approach calmly. The lion watches them eat and does not move, not because it fears them in this moment, but because something in it, some ancient accurate register of threat, has noticed something it cannot categorize. What it saw was not a hunting method. It was a choice between methods, and the lion has never watched any creature choose. Start with the simplest case: prey too fast to catch. Humans ran. Specifically, they ran in midday heat across open ground, exploiting the one physiological advantage their bodies actually possessed: more than 2 million sweat glands, upright posture reducing sun exposure, breathing decoupled from stride. The prey overheated. The human did not. This is documented. The San Bushmen of the Kalahari practiced it within living memory. It was real and it worked. Against prey that could be outrun through attrition in the right conditions, which is to say, in one specific set of circumstances, when the prey was too powerful for a human body to confront directly, something different happened. The mammoth stood 4 meters at the shoulder. The aurochs, the wild ancestor of domestic cattle, was the size of a large horse, with the temperament of something that had never learned to fear anything. The giant ground sloth weighed as much as an elephant. Humans did not evolve larger muscles to confront these animals. They invented leverage, the atlatl, a throwing board that acts as an extension of the arm, allowed a hunter to launch a spear at velocities exceeding 150 kilometers per hour. No human arm can generate that speed. The atlatl effectively turned a human thrower into a mechanical system, multiplying force through physics rather than biology. Atlatl weights have been found at archaeological sites across multiple continents, some dating back 20,000 years or more. A human looked at a physics problem and solved it before the next hunt. No other predator has ever done this. When a predator encounters prey too powerful for its body, it has 2 options across evolutionary time: develop a stronger body or avoid that prey. Humans found a third option that evolution had never produced before. They thought their way around the problem. When prey became too intelligent for direct pursuit, something stranger happened. Some animals, particularly those with strong social bonds and long memories, learned to recognize humans. They changed their routes. They altered their timing. They remembered specifically where danger had appeared before and avoided those locations. So humans put the danger somewhere the animal had never seen it. A pit dug on a game trail, covered with branches and leaves. A snare triggered by pressure or movement. A mechanism that activated without a human present at all. Evidence of pit traps has been found at Paleolithic sites across Africa, Europe, and Asia, some dating back over 30,000 years. Consider what a trap actually is. It is not a hunting method. It is a model of how another animal thinks, translated into a physical object, left to operate while the hunter sleeps. To build a trap, a human must imagine the future movements of a mind other than their own, predict where that mind will go and why, and construct something that exploits that prediction. No other predator on Earth does this, because no other predator can hold a model of another animal's future behavior and build a physical response to it. The trap is not a tool. It is evidence of a cognitive process that has no equivalent anywhere else in the animal kingdom. When prey was safe in numbers, humans did not hunt alone. Some prey animals developed collective defenses, herds that closed into formations, prey that used size and numbers to repel individual predators, and even coordinated wolf packs. Against these, a single human, or even a small group, was ineffective. The response was not biological, it was organizational. Coordinated drives in which groups of humans spread across wide terrain, using noise and movement to push prey in specific directions toward waiting hunters. Evidence from Siberian excavations shows mammoth hunting sites where the arrangement of bones, tools, and kill locations indicate systematic coordinated hunts involving multiple hunters performing distinct roles simultaneously. This was not instinct, it was assignment. Someone decided who would drive, who would flank, who would wait. Human cooperative hunting was planned, communicated, and modified in real time based on what the prey did. It was the first managed complex operation carried out by any living creature. And it predates the first army, the first institution, and the first city by tens of thousands of years. And then there is the deepest layer. When the environment itself was the obstacle, Humans did not adapt to it. They changed it, driving prey off cliffs by controlling their movement through coordinated fire and noise, a technique documented across North America, Europe, and Africa, known as a game drive or cliff drive. Seasonal burning of grassland to redirect the migration routes of entire herds toward locations humans had chosen in advance. Building fish weirs, permanent stone and wood structures placed in rivers to harvest fish continuously without requiring the hunter to be present at all. Fish weir structures have been found on multiple continents, some dating back 8,000 years. Mammoth hunters in Ice Age Europe returned to the same campsites across thousands of years of occupation, following migration routes with such precision that their presence appears at the same geographic locations generation after generation. They did not follow the mammoth blindly. They mapped the mammoth, and they reshaped the landscape around that map. Every other animal that has ever lived on this planet has adjusted its behavior to fit the world as it found it. Humans looked at the world as it was and decided to change it. That impulse to reshape external reality rather than internal behavior did not begin with agriculture or architecture or engineering. It began when a hunter looked at a cliff, a river, and a migration path, and decided that the world could be arranged more conveniently than it currently was. The lion on the ridge has seen all of it now, the chase that never ended, the object that flew faster than any wing, the thing waiting at the water hole that no animal built, the fire on the horizon that moved the herd exactly where the upright figures were already standing. It still has no category for any of it, because the category does not exist in the natural world. There is no biological framework for a predator that reads each situation and selects or invents the appropriate response. That coordinates through language rather than instinct. That builds its weapon from the materials the environment provides rather than the materials its body contains. The lion turns and walks away. Something in it, something old and accurate, has registered a boundary it cannot cross. Not a threat it can face. A kind of problem it was not built to solve. We live in a world now where these questions feel distant. The hunt has been outsourced. The food arrives without requiring any of this from us. And most of us move through our days without any awareness that the cognitive loop running beneath everything we do, encounter a problem, assess its nature, select or invent a response, execute, is the same loop that put the trap on the game trail 30,000 years ago. Every human institution is a formalized version of that loop. Engineering, medicine, law, science. The weapon never changed its shape. It only changed what it was aimed at. Every other animal that has ever lived evolved a weapon, fixed by biology, unchangeable within a lifetime. When the weapon failed the situation, the animal failed with it. Humans evolved something different, not a weapon. The ability to invent one. And that difference between carrying a fixed weapon and being able to create whatever the moment requires is why no environment, no prey animal, no rival predator, and eventually no force of nature has ever presented a problem that humans could not find a way around. Maybe what unsettled the lion was not the hunt it had just watched. Maybe it was the thing it could not know, that whatever method had just worked, these creatures were already considering what they would do if it stopped working. And if the ability to invent the weapon you need is the most dangerous trait any predator has ever possessed, what does it mean that we have barely begun to understand what we might invent next?